first Wednesday mini review. So we are working on mini review number 1. You should have already submitted this on Delta Math. And this video is just going over the different types of problems. Some of these are different, but some of them are the same problems that you'll see on Delta Math. This goes all the way back to Unit 1 and 2. In Unit 1, we worked with exponents. I believe this was our first assignment of the year. So number 1 says perform the operation. You have two polynomials and you're adding. So all you're doing is combining like terms. Same letter and exponent. And when you're adding or subtracting with exponents, the exponent stays the same. So I have a negative 10x and a plus 1x, so that's a minus 9x. And then minus 6 you bring down, and that's your answer. Now for number 2, we're subtracting. And what you have to do is distribute this negative to each term. So this ends up becoming a plus, that's a plus, and this ends up being a minus. Then you combine like terms again, and this turns into a plus. Negative 3x squared plus 2x squared is negative 1x squared. Negative 9x plus 4x is a minus 5x. And 5 plus 7 is 12. Oops. And this is why I always say rewrite it. That's a minus. 5 minus 7 is a negative 2. Be really careful. Number 3, we are multiplying. You have your two polynomials, but there's no sign in between the parentheses, so that means you're multiplying. So we're doing double distribution. So I'm going to first distribute that 4x to everything. So I have 12x to the third. Multiply your coefficients, add your exponents, minus 8x squared plus 4x. And then I'm going to carefully distribute my negative 3 to each term in the second parentheses. Minus 9x squared plus 6x minus 3. And then the last thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. 12x squared, 12x to the third has no friends. Nothing that goes with it. Negative 8x squared minus 9x squared is minus 17x squared. 4x and 6x is 10x. And then minus 3 is your final simplified answer. Now, questions 4 and 5 have to do with factoring. When we factor, we're not simplifying, we're actually breaking apart. And when you factor, the first thing you should look for is a GCF. So in this problem, I'm going to take out an x, and I'm left with x squared minus 13x plus 40. And then you should always see if you can factor again. And in this case, what's in the parentheses is a trinomial. So I have my x. I have to find two numbers that multiplied 40 and add or subtract to 13. So it's negative 5 and negative 8. Multiply 40 and add to negative 13. And the last thing you should remember to do is bring down your GCF. For this last problem, you could go right to difference of perfect squares. But here's the problem. There is a GCF you can take out. I'm going to take out a 4. Divide each one of these by 4, and you end up with 9u squared minus, that's 6. Now, in these parentheses, two terms, there's no more GCF, but that is difference of perfect squares. So you got a plus and a minus, square root each one of these. So you end up with 3u, and square root of 16 is 4. Last thing, bring down your GCF. This is not simplified. When we did that project back in December, a lot of you, when you factored, you said that's simplified. Simplified is what we did on top. This is factored. This is broken apart. Ask questions if you've got any, and next week we will do review number 2.